Welcome back to Miss Curtis's art class. So today what we are going to do is we are going to draw a Keith Haring Heart, okay? And we're going to talk about a really important book, which is called Everyone Matters. And this is an awesome book that talks about respect and having respect for others. So let's get started. You don't need a lot of supplies for this. You really just need a pencil and a piece of paper, whether you have just plain paper or lined paper, that works too. And if you want after, you can actually use some markers or crayons if you wanted to add some color, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit too. Keith Haring was a really cool artist. He actually used a lot of these motion lines in his pictures. So as you can see, there's this little character that's standing here, and behind him he's holding onto this heart. So below we have these little lines that the artist put there. You also have a nice little horizon line in the background, and then you have 3 areas that are colored in. Okay, so let's get started. So like I said, if you just have a piece of paper, what I'm using is a piece of computer paper here, and I'm going to use a marker, a Sharpie marker, so that you can see everything that I'm doing nice and clearly. Things that I like to do is just kind of take my time to draw a frame along my paper. I'm gonna try the best that I can because I kind of have this little like contraption over here on the right that's holding up my camera, kind of gets in the way. So just want to leave a little bit of space. Just like so. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try your best to make some lines that go straight around it. Okay. At the bottom right of my paper, I'm going to write my first and last name. So that's what I would like you to do. And then your homeroom number. So whichever room that you're in this year, that's what you're going to write. Miss Curtis and 217. Now that you've made your frame and you've written your name with your homeroom, let's get started. First thing that I want you to do is find the middle area of your paper, just about right here, and I'm going to simply draw a curved shape, again, an arch like a rainbow, right in the middle. No bigger than the size of a quarter, so it doesn't take up too much of the paper. Once you finish that, we are going to start on the figure's arms. So the first step to do that is we are going to simply draw the letter V for both arms. If you need to practice that, you can always take a separate piece of paper at any time, and you can just start to practice anything that I'm telling you before you put it on your final paper. So this would be the letter V. Okay. We are going to start at the end of where we drew the line for the head. So let's start on the left side. There we have a letter V. And on the right side, another letter V. So you can see that this is already going to be the start of us drawing the figure's arms. The next step that you're going to do is draw a smaller line, but this is going to be the top of the hands of the figure. So I'm simply going to draw a line like so, and another line like so. So now you have this interesting shape, right? And we want to close the shape and come around and have a full arm. So in order to do that, we are going to draw another letter V below. Okay, so watch me first and then you can do it. So we've got a line going down so, and then up. And the same on the other side. Awesome. So now you can see starting to come together. We are going to have our figure lifting this heart on their back. All right, so on this left side here, we are going to draw a straight line going down. It's going to slightly curve right here. So watch me first because this might be a little bit challenging, but I know you can do it. So we're going to go straight down and then curve just the tiniest bit at the bottom. And this is the area that's going to go into the figure's legs and feet, okay? Now this part should be pretty simple for you because we're just going to draw a straight line. So from the arm right here, we're just going to go straight down and end right there. And if you wanted to know measurement-wise, I'd say for me, this is about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches. It's not huge, but you can see on the paper that the figure is just taking up more so of the middle and not too much of the paper. Okay, the next step is we are going to start this leg over here. So on the left side right here, we want to draw a nice little leg. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a straight line that goes down and then another straight line right here. So we've got a leg. And then this is the fun part. You're going to draw a curvy little foot right here. So from this line, we're going to make a curve, come around, and now we've got a little foot. On this side over here, we're gonna draw another leg, but this leg is pretty fun. It's going to be kicking out, so it's gonna make it seem like the figure is moving and maybe he's about to walk or she's about to walk. So let's start with a line that goes diagonal and another line that kicks out and goes diagonal as well. Then you are going to loop around, curve around a little curvy line, and you've got another foot that kicks out. And look at that, already we have our figure, which is pretty exciting, right? So you're more than halfway done with this project already. Okay, now this part I really like, it's a lot of fun. We are going to draw the heart, which is behind the figure. It's like the figure is actually holding this really huge heart, which is really cool because it connects to our book about everyone mattering and kindness. And so I'm going to show you how to do this. Take your time with it. Hearts, I know, are a little bit challenging at times. So we're going to come up and around into a curve. And I like to have the top part of the heart kind of sit right above the figure's head. I just like it personally. It's a little more symmetrical, but wherever is fine. Then you're going to curve back down, just like so. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to draw a horizon line. So our figure is not just floating in the air ambiguously. So we want this figure to have some sort of ground that it's standing on. It's also going to give the idea of that the figure is in the front, okay? So we talk about things like foreground. Foreground means objects that are in the front. Middle ground means objects that are in the middle of the picture frame. And then background is stuff that's way in the back. So, for example, right here, this marker would be in the foreground and I am in the background, okay? I'm going to have the horizon line sit somewhere right around the middle of their back and come across. Now, this horizon line is going to have a slight curve, and that just is my personal preference right now. I'd like it to seem almost like it's a little bit of a hill. So I'm going to hold my paper with my other hand, and I think I'll start on this side and just draw a curve. It's going to come up, stop right there. And we're not going to draw through our figure, so be careful. You definitely want to stop right there. So we want the horizon to be behind the figure. It's in the background. The rest of the horizon line right here. Awesome. And we stopped at the frame. We don't want to go outside of the frame as well. So now the very last part of this is we want to draw some motion lines. So Keith Haring was very famous for having motion lines, which indicated that the figure was moving in a certain way. I'm going to put a couple lines near the foot as if the foot is kicking up. Maybe a few lines here that show that these arms are really lifting this heart right here. And that seems pretty good. Step would be to add color. So if you have either crayons, markers, or colored pencils, whatever you might have, you can use. I'm going to go with a blue figure in the middle. Blue is actually my favorite color. Whenever I teach students how to color, I always like to explain it kind of like a lawnmower. And I know that might kind of sound a little bit strange, but it's a really great way to kind of organize the way that you're coloring and make it come out really nice and neat and solid. I'm going to start with, at the top, I'm holding my paper nice and tight so it doesn't fly everywhere, and I'm simply going to push down and pull, staying in the lines the best that I can. Okay, and then right there, I've got one stroke all the way down. Right next to it, I'm going to pull down another stroke. And again, I say this looks like a lawnmower because you know when you mow the lawn, you want to make those nice straight lines. And then when I do this too, it's actually a lot of fun because it makes me slow down a little bit and concentrate. So you want to concentrate on just kind of filling in this figure with color nice and neatly. Now I'm using the tip more for around the edges and then pulling straight down just like so. All right. And then the smaller areas are going to be a little bit trickier, so you don't want to push down too hard. You want to use more of the tip in these areas. Okay. Now I'm going to speed this up a little bit and show you how I'm going to finish coloring in this figure, the heart and the ground. And then I'm going to leave the sky white for now, okay? I'm going to finish this and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, and just like that, we have another finished piece, just like this one. But the colors are different. Be creative. Like I said, if you have color, add whatever kind of colors that you want. Be imaginative with this. So my ground is not green like normal grass would be, right? It's purple. So I think it looks pretty fun. Today's lesson with the Keith Haring Hearts is all about kindness, and this book is called Everyone Matters. It says, a first look at respect for others. Respect is a little word with a very big meaning. Respect is a word we use to describe valuing the worth of other people as much as we value our own. Respect has to do with equality. When you respect someone, you see them as your equal, as being just as good as you are. When you think of someone in this way, you pay more attention to the ways in which you are alike. And don't worry too much about the ways in which you are different. Most of the differences between human beings are ones we can see with our eyes, meaning we're all pretty alike, more alike than we think. What makes us alike are the things we feel in our hearts. There are some types of respect that we all deserve, like being treated fairly, not being called names or shouted at, and not being made fun of because we are different. See, look here, this little girl seems a little sad. Seems like they're making fun of her, which is absolutely not nice. And there are some types of respect that we have to earn by doing things like keeping our promises, being loyal, being polite, listening, and being honest with others. The more you show respect to others by doing these things, the more they will respect you in return, which is very true. And then down here it says, what about you? Can you think of some ways you can show respect to others? Are there other things like animals and plants that need our respect as well? Some think that they can force others to respect them. And some think they deserve respect even when they haven't done anything to earn it. These people act like bullies. and try to scare people into doing what they tell them to do. We all know that bullying is not okay. But being scared of someone isn't the same as respecting them. Because when you are scared, you feel like the other person is bigger or better or more powerful than you. Respect always makes you feel that you are as important as anyone else. Showing respect doesn't never mean disagreeing. Everyone is entitled to having their own feelings and opinions, even if they are different from yours. So maybe they like different teams, right? So this little boy seems to like the blue team, and this little boy might like the red and yellow team. It doesn't seem like the dog really cares. If you respect someone, you try to understand why they think or believe something, even if you don't think or believe it yourself. They have an equal right to their opinion. Sometimes you just have to agree to disagree, right? What about you? Can you think of some times when you didn't agree with someone? Can you think of some ways to show someone that you respect them, even if you do disagree with their opinion? So, for example, maybe you love football, but someone else really likes hockey. So that's okay. You guys just have different interests. So everybody wants respect, but not everybody knows how to show it. We all have to practice showing respect every day, even grown-ups do. Because the more you practice, the better you get at it. And when we all try to respect each other and treat each other as equals, our homes and schools and even our world becomes happier places for us all to work and play and live together. So look at everybody here. They're all playing. They're having a good time. These two seem like they're laughing. And that is the end. Okay, so this book is really important because obviously everybody really does matter, and respecting each other is huge. So whether we're in the classroom or you're on the playground or you're in your home, you always want to show respect for everybody else that you come into contact with. So today's lesson, we are going to draw these Keith Haring hearts, and we're talking about kindness. And so when I think of a heart, I always think of love or being kind to one another. So here we're going to draw this figure. We're going to draw the background right here, and also, like I said, the heart, okay? And then we're going to talk a little bit about Keith Haring too, and why he's such a cool artist and some of the types of drawings that he does.